Hello and welcome to the Leeds Prior TechFounders series, where we talk to the founders of some of East Anglia's most exciting tech businesses. My name is Alex Saunders, Senior Associate in the Leeds Prior Technology team, and I'm delighted to be joined by Marcus and Laura from Fountain Partnership.
My name is Marcus Hemsley. I'm one of the founders of Fountain Partnership. I now work as creative director, but I'm much more in strategy as well. So I come up with strategies to help make our clients lots of money.
I'm Laura Jennings. I'm one of the co-founders of Fountain, and I'm the operations director at Fountain.
Brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much for both of you for joining us today. So, for those who aren't in the know, tell us a little bit about what Fountain does.
Okay, so we're a digital marketing agency, sort of like that's what the title is, I suppose. But really, we focus on making people as much profit as possible through getting them new customers on the internet.
So, where did the idea come from to start Fountain back in 2009?
So the four of us knew each other. I think we all wanted to get into business and do our own thing. Me specifically because I didn't have a job because I just graduated from UEA in 2008. And no one was looking to employ people, especially philosophy graduates. But I'd spent a lot of time at university going to sort of self-help business sort of seminars, hanging out with entrepreneurs. And I just found digital marketing fascinating. I thought this is probably the future. So I started playing around with that and offering it freelance. Laura, Rebecca and Rob all knew each other because they're at the same company.
Yeah, we'd all worked at the same company together before, really enjoyed working together. And so Marcus and Rebecca had the idea initially to start the company, and Rob and I leapt at the chance to work with them.
And I think that whole ethos of transparency and look, it doesn't have to be a dark art. Digital marketing is ultimately a spreadsheet exercise, and we can know exactly how many people are coming to your website, how many of them will become a customer, what that's worth to you, and then what you pay us in exchange for it. Then we can have a performance-based service, and that I think has worked well.
I know that there's been a number of high points over the years, perhaps a couple of those just behind us. Is there any high point in the last 10 years that stands out?
There's so we've got this before, weren't we? There's lots of micro ones, isn't there? And it's so individual. I mean, for me, actually, one of the highest points was actually the first client we won, and the first time actually someone hired us to do marketing.
Because it validates.
Yeah, and we made them a return on investment, and it was a check for 500 quid that came through after we got them. Made them like $5,000 or whatever, and I was so happy I couldn't sleep that night. So, well, now we've done it once, right? We've got 500 quid in. Now we just leverage that. We just scale it right up. And also, I think at the time, right at the beginning, you do have imposter syndrome, and you think, I know this stuff works in theory. I've been studying it, but actually taking it to the marketplace and just getting that validation, that was the big hit.
For me, is actually about 2 years ago as a company. So we'd grown from 13 people to 33 in the space of a year. So we grew very, very quickly. And so 50% of our staff had only been with us for a year. And it was just mad. They didn't have all of the context and the history that we'd got. And we all took a day out and went to the Assembly House in Norwich and aligned to set our company values. And if you'd have told me at the start of the business that we were going to be doing that and spending all that time setting company values, I would have said, well, that's not important. Who cares about that? But I think the values are so important within the business in terms of what we do, the culture, how we recruit. And it was really nice that everybody set those values together. And it caused quite a lot of debate, didn't it?
Healthy debate, yeah.
In a really nice and constructive way. But everybody, we had our values of what we thought the company values were, but then other members of the team were saying, well, how about this? This is what we feel about Fountain. And the four of us were looking at each other and being like, yeah, that's totally right. And it was so nice to see everybody contribute and everybody be listened to. And I think we all aligned and agreed on the values by the end of it. There wasn't anybody who was like, no, that one doesn't speak to me.
No one handed their notice off.
But it must be so nice, sort of, you've created something, you've had other people come in and then sort of, throw their own thoughts into the mix.
I sat in a meeting a couple of weeks ago and watched the guys come up with this strategy for a client, and I just sat there being like, I have nothing to offer this meeting. Everybody had so many great ideas. It was really amazing watching them do it together. Whereas, 5 years ago, we'd have felt like we were steering that meeting a lot more and, trying to get answers out of people. Whereas now, the answers just come.
So you've been very modest and not mentioned the, shall I say, the elephant in the room or the gold award in the room. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the Google Awards that you won.
That was probably one of the proudest moments. I was shaking so much because 1,000 people in New York, and Google have just said we're the best agency in the world for growing businesses online, and there's 30 of us from Norwich. And what was insane is people coming up to us from California, from Sydney, Hong Kong, and saying so you're from the UK, this is great for the UK and Europe, great. So you're from the Norwich district of London. I was like, no, we're from Norwich. They're like, and that's in London. And I was like, no, it's outside the M25, it's it's East England. They just couldn't get their head round that a global award winner from the UK wasn't based in London and was top of the Shard with 5,000 staff or whatever.
So lots and lots of high points. Every startup has its challenges. Is there anything, perhaps particularly in the early days, that you found has been a challenge?
Oh, where do we begin, right? I mean, we were lucky that we started in our 20s and we just had rent to pay. We didn't have children or mortgages and stuff. And we always joke that Rob and Laura's rent went out on the 15th, and me and Rebecca's went out on the 1st. And if that, hadn't been the case, we may have packed up and gone and got jobs, So, the first few years, money always feels like oxygen. And I think you just have to just persist. Failure can't cope with persistence. You just keep going regardless of what it throws at you. Because no one's really heard of you and you're just trying to make your way. So I think the first years probably, in my opinion, were the hardest.
I know that sort of workplace culture is a massive thing for you. How do you, because that's in many ways a bit of a buzzword, how do you actually sort of go about cultivating that?
It's that we put it front and centre, we prioritise it. So Rebecca, Alice and I every week have what we call our management meeting, but it's a meeting to understand what's going on with it, everybody, who needs what support, and then also what proactive things can we run to make people feel more involved. And I think it's very easy to put it to the bottom of the list because there's you need to make your clients money, you need to do this for marketing, there's all these other jobs, but actually none of that will work if you have an unhappy workplace.
We believe we hire the best people possible, but you can't outperform a negative emotional state. You can see that in the sports team all the time. You see it in Norwich City at the minute, right? But Stuart Webber's really big into culture, and it's just that thing of look, even when times are tough, you will perform better than to your potential if you're in a good mood.
So hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I'm sure there would be things that you might have done differently. What kind of words of wisdom would you pass on to budding entrepreneurs if you're doing it all again?
I think what we've done well. I'm talking about what we've done wrong, and there has been things we've done wrong. I think what we've done well, and we talked about this before, is that there's a little bit of luck there, but all four of the directors are different personality types. There's sort of disc profiling and Myers-Briggs, but we all complement each other. And I think a lot of people I see in business, they're two of the same personality type, and I think, there's so many blind spots that you've got. Because Laura and I are very different, and at first it was a challenge working together, because I was thinking, how does she see the world like that? What was wrong with her? I'm sorry. I'm sure you probably thought the same thing about me, perhaps. Really? Maybe, right? But very quickly I realised that Laura was right half the time, maybe more than half the time, right? And I kind of thought, actually, the things I can't see, she sees really well. And I think, when I've got an idea, I need to run it by Laura, because Laura's going to see things I don't see. And I think that is the thing I would say, is work as a team and find people around you. Because I think Rebecca and I came up with the idea of Fountain, but very quickly we brought Rob and Laura on board and we gave them sort of equal shares, so we're 4 founders together. And people said, why are you doing that? You're cutting the pie in 4. I was like, well, I'd rather have a bigger pie. And I'd rather work with people that will help me be better than just this sort of narcissistic, egotistical, I'm the entrepreneur, it's all about me, and it's not. There's that humility of finding the best people who have done it before, go and hang out in the best in the world, and then work with people who are different personality types who will challenge you to actually see reality more like it is rather than you giving into your cognitive biases.
Well, thanks ever so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you both, and hopefully catch up soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.